Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast, Retro Life for You. My name is Chris, and with me, as always, my trusty sidekick, companion, co-host with
Watch.
the most,
Yeah,
Travis Rollins.
Travis Vankman.
You are not a Ghostbuster,
I would love to be.
but you're not.
No,
So,
I'm not.
so you're giving people hopes that we're talking Ghostbusters this week, and that's not what we're
I
doing.
ain't afraid of no ghost. We might for a minute though.
We might from him because Ghostbusters will be popping up, I think, with a few other things here shortly. But before we get there,
hmm
how's it going, man?
Oh man, busy as ever. One of the craziest weeks I've had. How about you?
I'm. It's actually been a pretty good week for me. I've finally got that good news on the job change. Be changing over
Nice.
to something new here. I don't want to jinx anything, but it supposedly starts by the end of the month, September on September 30th, I believe. So keeping fingers crossed for that. Start date might change. I think I've pretty much got the job unless something happens that's weird and crazy and it gets rescinded. But I can't see.
Beautiful.
I can't think of any reason why it would. So
Well,
it's been kind of a
congratulations
good
on
week
that.
for me on that. I don't lose anything in the transfer to the new job, but I gain a better schedule, better hours, chance for some better pay, yearly bonus, things of that nature. Retirement is most important.
Nice. Well,
Actually,
congratulations on that,
thank
brother.
you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
I made homemade spatula for the first time today.
You did. How'd that turn out?
Surprisingly well.
Would you like to inform us what that is exactly?
We call it spatzel when you go to a German restaurant. It's egg noodles or egg dumplings, but they're teeny tiny. It's almost like macaroni and cheese, but not. It's weird,
Ah,
but it's
only thing I
good.
think of when I hear German restaurant, I think of schnitzel. That's all I think of.
That's what I made Jaeger schnitzel to go with it.
Did you really? That's
Yeah,
good.
I'll put my schnitzel up against anybody's, dude.
That's always good stuff right there.
They're not going to be getting that at your new job, are they?
No, they're not getting schnitzel at my new job. No,
They get wet bologna that don't have no
nor will
flavor.
they. They're lucky if they get wet bologna, probably. And the job I'm leaving won't have it either. Uh, they'll give you the stuff to make it with, probably, but that's as far as they'll go. So,
Yeah, you can't just go to the grocery store and buy schnitzel. You got to pound it out. You got to, yeah. Oh, and word to the wise, use the flat side of your hammer. Oh, and another good idea is go ahead and get your thin cut, like veal chop. If you want to make real Wiener schnitzel, then you got to have veal, lamb or baby cow. Go ahead and get your chops. Like, go ahead and get them cut thin, and then put them in a gallon size Ziploc bag when you go to bang them out, and then you won't have all that juice, nasty raw meat juice splatter everywhere.
I'd say that's some good, definitely good information to know.
Heck yeah, it helps.
Yeah. I mean, the last thing you want is to be,
Raw pork.
I mean, exactly, you're wearing it everywhere. So,
Yeah, that's Wiener Schnitzel. So we had Wiener Schnitzel and I don't know what they call adult cow, but it was beef Schnitzel.
mm.
I didn't have the good
Do you know what
opportunity to get the good veal.
so you don't know what they call adult cow? Do you know what they call a cow with no legs?
Bob. Oh, that's if you throw them
Ground,
in the lake.
ground beef.
Oh, ground beef. Nice.
Exactly. I didn't even save it for the end. I got it out there quick and early. You like
I
that?
love it. I love it.
I mean, it's just like if you got a cow with two legs. It's lean beef.
Lean beef.
What if you
What if they're just on the back? Like if the two on the back are gone. Well, I guess he's still leaning. Oh, he's doing the rock away like Fat Joe. He's leaning back.
we could do
What's
this
this
all
week's
night.
show about, Chris?
We could do this all night, but we're not. This week's show, we're going to do the top 20 grossing movies worldwide of the 1980s, the decade of the 80s.
The whole decade, y'all.
So and a lot of you might pick a lot of these out before he gets there, but we're going to be counting down backwards from 20 to number one.
Yeah.
And might find that some of your all-time favorites are there, and you might be surprised on a couple that are in there. So
Yeah. And just to be just a quick disclaimer right here at the front too is I don't think it's fair, but we don't want to group them in because that's not fair either. We don't want to split them up. But there's a few franchises in here that are repetitive.
Yeah, exactly. But they are individual movies, though, that build the franchise. So you got to be fair to the individual movies and put them out there. So uh, let's just go ahead and go take turns back and forth. You want to take the first one?
I'll take the first one.
This is number 20.
Yeah. It's going to be. Ghostbusters! Are
Who are you
you
going to
afraid of a
call?
Are you afraid of a ghost? I ain't afraid of no ghosts. We got Ghostbusters from 1984, and who don't know Ghostbusters? Like that's a worldwide classic. I don't know of anybody that hadn't seen it. They've been enjoying a nice renaissance with the reboot that I, honest to God, I've been enjoying quite. Not the one with Chris Hemsworth and the ladies, the one with the kids. I've been enjoying that one quite a bit. But 1984 budgeted it between 25 and 30 million dollars, and it grossed worldwide. I guess after it was all said and done, $295.7 million, which is
It's quite a chunk of change.
that's a lot of cabbage.
It is.
That's pretty good. I love. How did you feel about Ghost? I love Ghostbusters. Who didn't? Who don't love Ghostbusters?
Oh, I did like Ghostbusters. I did. The very first one. My favorite thing to quote from it, we came, we saw, we kicked its butt. To put it nicely, we came, we saw, we kicked its butt.
Yeah, I like that one. I liked a lot of them. I'd have to say, well, I don't know if it's on the list or not, but I'll have to say that I like the second one. I like the little dude talking about Vigo. We are the upper vessels. I don't know why he just sounded so funny to me, so I like that.
I
And then
always liked the first one better.
are you the gatekeeper? Are you the keymaster? Rick Moranis was so funny.
Yeah, yeah. I
Whoa,
always liked the first one though.
heck yeah.
So
Well, what was
19,
number 19? Yeah.
19 is a fun little movie starring John Travolta and Kirstie Alley along with Olympia Dukakis. It's Look Who's Talking,
Oh yeah.
1989, directed by Amy Heckerling. For those
Yeah.
who may not remember, because Look Who's Talking is one of those movies, like I said, you might be surprised is in the top 20.
Right.
But after a single career minded woman is left on her own to give birth to the child of a married man, she finds a new romantic chance in a cab driver. Meanwhile, the point of view of the newborn baby is narrated through voiceover by Bruce Willis, basically. I forgot to mention Bruce Willis, didn't I?
No,
Bruce
you
Willis.
just did.
I know. I'm saying before, though, I didn't mention Bruce Willis. He's the voice of the baby. And the whole premise of the movie is you're getting a view of the world through the eyes of the baby, even when he's in the womb until he comes out. And then later on,
Yeah.
as a little boy, and the little boy's voice is to being voiced by Bruce Willis. So
And
the
it is
budget of
so
this movie
funny.
was $7.5 million was the budget. It
Yeah.
grossed worldwide, as you said, on all said and done, $297 million.
That's a quite a bit of money.
It is quite a bit of money, and that was it went on to spawn, I think, two other sequels later on.
Yeah, I know for a fact. Look who's talking to, or look who's talking now. Yeah, it's look who's talking
Yeah,
to, and then look who's talking now. And what was the
right.
third one? The third one was like the dog or something, wasn't it?
Was the second one that a daughter come into the play?
Yeah, he got a little sister.
So they brought Roseanne in to do the voice of the daughter, while
Yeah,
Bruce Willis still did the voice of the boy, and then the third one might have been the dog. Then, um, I can't remember the third one honestly though. So,
cool movie though. If y'all hadn't seen it, go check it out. This is a good movie.
definitely. What do we have for 18?
Number 18 is gonna be Mr. Axel Foley in Beverly Hills Cop 2.
You can't do it. You do it pretty well though.
So we got an approximate one on this one. I budgeted at wow. So look, that's more impressive when you realize and think about that. Look who talking to's budget was only 7.5. But
Yeah.
with a budget of 27 million, they Beverly Hills Cop grossed $299.9 million. It would only took a couple more ticket sales to get them up to 300.
Now, what was two about again?
That was when he went back to help Taggart and Rosewood investigate Chief Bogomil's. He got shot in this series. Alphabet Crimes.
Oh, the alphabet killer. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, the
They were they
Alphabet
were
Killer.
they were robbing banks and trying to rob the horse track at the end of it.
Yeah, there was a
Always
bunch of
trying to
smash and grab robberies.
yeah.
Is that the
Def,
one? Was it the first one or was it this one? I forgot the name of the guy I was looking for, but he walked in. He's like, "Hello." He's like, "Well, tell him my
Victor
name's so."
Maitland looking for Victor Maitland.
Yeah, have you seen
That's
Victor? He's talking about herpes simplex 2. He might want to go have himself checked out.
that's the first one.
That was
He
so
wants to go
funny.
give him the message, and the maitre d' of the restaurant doesn't want to let him in because it's private members only. And he says, "Why don't you give me the message and I'll pass it on to him?" He's like, "Yes, that might be okay." He says, "Well, tell Victor that Ramon, the guy he met last week, just got checked out at the clinic, and I got the herpes simplex too."
I got
Or I
herpes
thought it was
simplex
herpes
2.
simplex 10. He said,
It might be. It's a
"Yeah."
herpes simplex 3. He might want to go have himself checked out.
Before things start falling off the man.
Yeah. This is the
Yeah.
one. This is the one where Billy pulled out like a deagle. He pull out like a desert eagle or something. And
Look,
Axel was like, "Yo, man, we gotta talk." He's
I'm
like,
gonna
"What
tell
is
you
this,
what.
Dirty
No,
Rosewood?"
no, that was Taggart. It says, "Billy, we really got to talk."
Was it
And
Taggart?
he
Yeah,
said, and Taggart says, "Who do you think you are?" And it
Clint
leads
Eastwood.
up, which leads up really well to number 17. A
Oh
nice
God,
segue. A nice segue to 17 because he says, "Billy, who do you think you are, Rambo?"
yeah. I thought it was
Number
Clint Eastwood. He called him dirty Rosewood or
he
something.
calls him Dirty Rosewood at one point and talks about Clint Eastwood. And he talks about Rambo as well. He's got like
Yeah,
the knife and stuff like that, and he's got all the
yeah.
weapons. But number 17, though, was Rambo First Blood Part 2, where Rambo returns to the jungles of Vietnam on a mission to
Oh,
infiltrate an enemy base camp. It says here to rescue American POWs still held captive, but his actual mission was just to take pictures and take it back so they could then, put a team together to go in. But he knew if he got there, he would need something more than pictures because pictures would disappear. So
right.
he goes to take an actual POW with him, which leads into, the bulk of the action starting from there, basically, because he's getting busted in the process.
Yeah.
But Sylvester Stallone, Richard Crenna as Colonel Troutman, and Charles Napier, who plays the boss over all of them, who's got this thing in process. Director was George Cosmatos, and
Hey
this was
man.
budgeted.
Hey
Huh?
man. Don't be disrespectful to the inventor of Cobra Kai.
The inventor of Cobra Kai,
Wasn't he in there?
who? Oh,
Uh,
Martin Cove.
Martin Cove. Yeah.
Martin Cove is not the inventor of Cobra Kai. He learned Cobra Kai when he was in Vietnam.
I thought he started the school.
He might have started the school, but the way of Cobra Kai, the way the fist and everything was not. He learned
Oh,
it from
really?
somebody. If you've watched
Oh, okay.
the most recent season or half season or partial season, whatever they're doing to make it last longer and kill us in the process, we want to see it end already. We want the
Spoiler
final
alert.
product. It shows you in there how that all took place.
Well,
And
I'm
everything.
down with Eagle Fang, so I ain't worried about. Can I
But
just say that this might not be popular opinion, but I think Rambo First Blood Part 2 might be my favorite one out of the Rambo's
it is a
franchise.
great, it is a great one though. I mean, and I
It's my
liked it a
favorite one.
lot. I liked it a lot. I mean, I also liked Rambo 3, but 2 is just more of what Rambo was. He was like a killing machine in Vietnam in the
Hmm.
jungles there.
Yeah, man.
That's what he was just built for that. I mean,
And see, coming up back in the day, so back when I was watching these movies as a kid, you know, the Rambo movie was it was too slow for me. It was a lot of dialogue, but then it was also leading up to it was telling the story of how our soldiers were treated when they did come back home, kind of lost in the mix. So
yeah,
later in life, it became a phenomenal movie to me. But growing up, I think because First Blood Part 2 was so action packed, like when he was in the mud wall with his eyes closed and he opened up his
right.
eyes and grew like, dude, yeah,
Yeah.
Rambo 2 is hard to beat.
But and then one, like you said, one was great, but we was better for us when we were older. We appreciated it more when we were older
Yeah,
than we did when it first came
yeah.
out. So,
But
but now the movie budgeted
look,
25.5 million, and
right,
it grossed $300.4 million worldwide.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Um, now
So,
going from Rambo at 17 to number 16, what
hey,
have you got?
somebody keep ringing that bell. I can't concentrate. That's brisk, baby. My favorite, also, I think because I was old enough to know what was going on. My favorite Rocky movie, a lot of people's favorite Rocky movie, actually, Rocky Four.
At number 16.
Yeah,
You know what
budgeted.
though? But you know what? Hold on, not before you get too deep into it. I mean,
Yeah,
Rocky 4 is great. I loved Rocky 3 though, because Rocky
McClubber.
3, I mean, we lost Mick in Rocky 3, but you see that budding friendship of him and Apollo come out, and Apollo trains him in the way that he was trained
To
about
fight
being
Clubber
lighter on his
Lang.
feet and how to move and have some rhythm to him and everything. And fighting Clubber Lang like he did when he got just crap beat out of him the first time, and come back and was just a whole new boxer at that point. I mean that.
Yeah,
So
Rocky Five was the
I
worst.
kind of like 3 a lot, but 4 tops all of them for me,
Four tops all
and
of them.
for multiple reasons. Not only is it because it's a great movie, it's got a great soundtrack.
That and I think when he picked up, and it's so funny too to hear him talk about um Dolph Lundgren the way he does when he kind of discovered Dolph to play Ivan.
Mhm.
But to me, like Ivan was the one you really thought Rocky was going down. Like I don't, you know what I mean? Like how's he gonna win? Like
Right.
even when Adrian was telling him on Clubber, like, you can't win. What am I supposed to do? I'm a fighter, Adrian. You know what I mean? But nah, Rocky, like, or no, it was this one she told him he couldn't win. Or was it
It
Clubber? Which one
no,
was
it
it?
was the fourth one.
Was the fourth?
He's gonna go to Russia for the
That's what
fight.
it was to train. And she said, you can't win. He's like, well, what do you want me to do?
Is she
But
not
yeah,
like one of the most
so good.
unlikable people in the Rocky series?
Absolutely.
I used to think that it was Paulie, but
No, it's Adrian.
it's Adrian. She's
Actually, it
like
might
the
be his
most.
son running around with a little robot.
Oh, happy birthday, Paulie.
But anyway, so the movie budgeted at 28 million and grossed in a 300.5, which is only a half a million more, 100 grand more, or would that be a half a million more?
That'll be 100 grand more, I believe.
100 grand more than Rambo. So if you take the 2.5 mil off the top of the budget, this movie technically didn't do as well as Rambo.
Hmm.
If you think about it, as far as money, like their profit, gross it did, but profit it didn't. We're going to have to do that. We're going to do the most profitable movies because I think Look Who's Talking probably going to be the best.
But
That one
look,
killed everybody.
when it comes to profitable movies, how do we determine what is the profit, the actual profit of the movie?
The ticket
Where does
sales.
the profit come in? You got what ticket sales? Are you still paying your cast and crew and everybody else out of the ticket sales stuff at the end there, or has
I
it
would
all
say
been paid out ahead of time?
I would say it would be just flat out the budget versus the gross. I wouldn't count merchandise or anybody that took like some of these genius people that take a percentage of ticket sales and end up making 10 times as much money as they would have if they'd
Yeah,
have
kind of like Robert Downey Jr. taking a percentage of the Avengers,
Exactly.
not taking paid to do the role. He took a percent.
Exactly. So what do we
Genius
have?
move.
What do we have? 1/3 of the way through the list.
We're almost one. I guess we're almost that way. We're number 15 now. And number 15 is a 1984 film about a freewheeling Detroit cop pursuing a murder investigation who finds himself dealing with a very different culture of where? Beverly Hills.
Beverly Hills.
We've gone from Beverly Hills Cop 2 a little bit lower down the list. Now we at Beverly Hills Cop, the first one from 1984, as I said. Director Martin Brest, stars Eddie Murphy, Judge Reinhold, John Ashton, as well as a variety of others. Great cast, though. Budgeted $13 million, and it grossed worldwide $316.4 million.
Heck yeah.
Um, Eddie Murphy in
One of
the
the
'80s was
best comedy
really
movies ever.
he was really racking it in though. I mean,
Dude,
because
everything
not
he was
only did he
in,
have the Beverly Hills Cops movies, he had the 48. He had what 48 hours.
48 hours, yep.
I don't remember if another 48 hours came out in the '90s or I mean the late '80s or early '90s. I can't
Yeah, I don't
remember,
remember.
but
But he had that. He had his stand-ups going. He was rocking on SNL. He like his 80s
at
was
Trading Places,
trading places. Yeah, it was crazy.
it was something else. But definitely a great movie. What have you got for number 14?
Number 14 is a nasty movie. It's a married man's one-night stand comes back to haunt him with a lover who begins to stalk him and his family. It's a borderline horror movie. It started all these nasty movies. Fatal Attraction. They nasty with Glenn Close and Michael Douglas. It's a 1987 movie that's nearly 2 hours long. Budgeted at 14 million, brought in 320.1 million dollars. And this is one of them. I was telling Chris right here when we were deciding on going over this. This is pretty cool. Though. This was the idea. Let's do something impromptu on the fly and just have some fun with it. So it's like, well, let's do the top 20 grossing movies of the whole decade. No prep work. Let's just wing it. And that's what I was telling him as we were going through kind of perusing it, just quick overview of what we were getting ourselves into. It, because there's some things that we would think would be higher up on the list, especially with some of the movies that are in the top 20, this being one of them in my mind. But it was funny to me that it's big blockbuster sci-fi movies with a lot of special effects, big action movies or action slash comedies, and pretty much date night movies, which is what I would have considered this.
Did you ever see Fatal Attraction?
I have seen it. It's been a long time. I went through, of course, as a young boy, as a teenager, as a young boy, Christopher.
Young boy.
As a young boy, I found out I watched Fatal Attraction 9.5 weeks, and that one with Sharon Stone, where she was crossing her legs constantly.
Basic Instinct.
Basic Instinct. I was watching all of them.
I mean, so I've heard that's the name of it.
Yeah. But yeah,
I've not seen Fatal Attraction myself.
Honestly, it's not a bad movie. I said it was nasty. It's got, I mean, the 80s, you know what I'm saying? Nudity was rampant in the 80s. It's got a couple little love scenes that's like, come on now, we don't have to get this far into it. But it's pretty cool. It's kind of like The Babysitter. Have you ever seen The Babysitter with Silverstone?
Was it
Alicia
called The
Silverstone?
Babysitter?
Yeah, with Alicia Silverstone, where she became
I've
the
seen
babysitter
it.
and then went bananas and started killing the family because she wanted to be with a.
I've seen it, but I didn't know it was called The Babysitter.
Yeah, it's oh no, that's The Crush. The Crush had Alicia Silverstone in it. The Babysitter was somebody else.
So The Crush is what it is. Okay, yeah.
But anyway, it's along those types of movies. She goes crazy and falls in love, and then wants to kill people. It's not one I would be like, go watch this movie right now. The next one, though, number 13, I would.
You would? You know what? I don't blame you. He's got a very good idea of what cutlery looks like. Whereas some people don't.
He knows what a knife is.
That's right. Some people want to show him a knife, and he tells them, what does he tell them?
That's not a knife. This is a knife.
That's right. Mr. Crocodile Dundee, 1986. Stars Paul Hogan and Linda Kozlowski. Directed by Peter, was it Feynman? F-A-I?
Yeah, Feynman or Feynman.
Feynman, something like that. You know what? This is one of those movies, just like Fatal Attraction, that I would not have thought was in the top 20 grossing all time of the decade.
I could believe it because it was like, man, I remember when this movie came out, dude. Everybody was talking about all the way into the 90s.
But it was funny. Yes, it was good. And it was funny, but there were so many good funny movies in the 80s.
That's true.
You could take this movie and put it up against Trading Places if you want to, and it's not any funnier.
That's true.
You know, I mean, you could take a lesser known comedy from the 80s.
And you know what else too? Paul Hogan wasn't like, this is the movie that kind of made him famous.
Yeah, he was not a household name.
It was like his first movie.
Right. Nobody was a household name. Him or Linda Kozlowski, the one.
No.
So, but the budget, $8.8 million, grossed worldwide 328.2 million. That's amazing for a movie that's got nobody starring in it that is a household name.
Yeah. Especially a big shout out, just real quick, to David Gupilil. He's a legendary Yolngu actor. That's a First Nations person. He was born in an Aborigine, we say, uh, born in Northern Australia. And the local missionaries gave him his birthday and his name. But he says he liked it from the start. So he didn't grow up. He did grow up learning the Aboriginal ways, but at the same time, he was Christianized or white manized or whatever. So he starred in quite a few movies and stuff. A lot of Aboriginals aren't cool with being on film or photographed because of their spirituality. So big shouts out to him.
Yeah, and just to give a little basic rundown of it, so you see what the movie's about. This is another reason why I didn't think it would be that great up there. But American reporter Sue Charlton, who Kozlowski plays, she travels to Australia outback to meet the eccentric poacher Mick Crocodile Dundee, and she sees how his life is there. Invites him back to New York City, where he comes face to face with the complexities of modern life because
Yeah.
it's just not something he's used to.
Think of Jungle to Jungle with a grown dude.
Yeah.
Mimi Siku. It's like Tarzan coming back to,
Yeah, exactly. Oh, what does number 13 take us to? What's happening there at number 12?
Patty cake, patty cake, patty cake. Number 12 is one of my favorites. It's Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And you can go back and listen to a previous episode we did not too long ago on the entire movie where we break the whole thing down. And Chris was pleasantly surprised that he very much liked this movie.
I had not seen it until we did this. Travis could not believe I've never watched Roger Rabbit. I told him I didn't think it was my kind of movie when it came out, but I went back and watched it, and I was thoroughly impressed. I was happy. I was glad I watched it. Wished I had watched it back when it came out.
But would you have appreciated it back then, though?
I don't know. Probably
might
not.
Have been too cool for school. You might not have liked it.
I might not have liked it back then. That's a very good point.
So I think one of the very first, easily the first big, no, it wasn't the first because Pete's Dragon. But anyway, easily one of the biggest of all time that did like a half cartoon, half human, half live action type thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a cartoon rabbit accused of murder. He lives in Toontown. For those of you that don't know, he enlists the help of a burnout private investigator to prove his innocence. So what happened is, what was his name? Oh man, what was Bob Hoskins' name? Yeah, what was his name? Eddie. So
Eddie.
Eddie's brother got killed by a toon, and so now he just hates toons. He's got a drinking problem and all this and that. But phenomenal movie. Had a budget of $50.6 million, which is our highest budget so far. But there again, this is old school, hand drawn, cell by cell automation, animation put in right beside live action. But it grossed $329.8 million at the box office. And if you haven't seen it, watch it. And
this
can
is
watch
one of those
kids.
You can
still get adult laughs.
Right. And this is one of those movies you mentioned earlier about where, although it's ranked higher up for, money and gross worldwide, but the profit of it is not quite as high compared to some of the others.
Exactly. Yeah. 100%. Because it was so expensive to make, for sure.
Right.
And actually, it has that in common with our next movie, number 11.
Well, number 11, the part of a franchise that a lot of us love.
Oh, yeah.
It's got a very nice car in it, directed by Robert Zemeckis. One of our favorite characters of, it's heavy, Doc. Marty McFly.
Yeah.
Great Scott.
I thought you were going to say Biff Tannen.
Not Biff Tannen, no. But I'm going to make like a tree and get out of here.
Make like a tree and get out of here.
Let's make like a tree and leave, you butthead. Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd, Leah Thompson. Back to, like it says, they go. Then this one, they go back to the future. They go to the future this time, whereas in the original, In the original, he goes to the past and has to get sent back home to the future. And this one, he's gone to the future to try and take care of problems that have occurred for his kids. And
I love when he gets in the car and he's like, Doc, hey Doc, it's like, what about the roads? Roads, Marty, my boy, where we're going, we don't need roads.
it was like, what's up? Is there enough road to get to 85 or to get to 88 miles an hour? I
Yeah.
think it was. Where we're going, we don't need road.
Oh, this movie also gave us the most expensive Nike shoe there is.
Yes. Yes. That was I didn't even stop and think about that. It was cool though.
Mm-hmm.
Cool looking.
And for a pair of those shoes, it's like up above six figures to buy a pair of those shoes.
Yeah.
A real set. This is just like dead new stock.
I like the part of the plot where Marty decides he's going to take home a souvenir from the future, which is
A
who wins.
hoverboard.
No, it was the hoverboard wasn't planned on taking. He did plan on taking the sports almanac with him, which showed the scores of all these games that were going to happen that happened in the past, which is actually going to be his future that he can turn around and bet money on and stuff. So,
but then, spoiler alert, Biff gets a hold of it.
Backfires on him.
Biff gets all the money.
All the money. Well, this movie, speaking of money, budgeted $40 million and it grossed $331.9 million. So leading
good.
up now, that's the first half right there of our top 20. Mm-hmm. We're about to break into the top 10 here. And Travis, whenever you're ready, man, give us that number 10.
We don't want to shout anybody out before we do a 10, do we? Do we have anybody want to shout out this week?
You know what? We do actually, I believe. I tell you what, here's what we're going to do. I'd like to play this commercial. Good friend of the show. I think you guys know what I'm talking about already. Mr. Tim and his 80s flicks flashback. So let this play and we'll be back with the top 10.
If you don't stop and listen to an 80s flick flashback podcast once in a while, you could miss it. Do you love movies of a certain age? Do you miss the days of VHS tapes, VCRs, and the video rental stores? Does the thought of another 80s movie being remade seem inconceivable? My name is Tim Williams. I'm the creator and host of the 80s Flick Flashback Podcast. On each episode, I'm joined by guest co-hosts to discuss one of the many movies released in the 1980s. We share our first-time watch memories, our favorite scenes, and even learn some behind-the-scenes stories about the cast and crew along the way. New episodes are released every other Friday on your favorite podcasting platform. So make like a tree, get out of here, and go listen to an excellent episode of the 80s Flick Flashback Podcast. The ad is over. Go home. Go.
Bow, bow. I can't help it every time.
I know you want it. I'll say, I know you want to do it. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah. Also, shout out to Lori and Captain Mary Stewart and Wieners and Losers and all the friends of the show and our listeners and viewers.
Gotta start bringing some people back on, you know.
Heck yeah,
we really do. All right. Let's jump into the top 10, starting with number 10. Who do we got there?
At number 10 in the summer of 1984.
Oh, I went out of my announcer voice and went into daggum James Earl Jones. Well, anyway,
I was going to ask, when was James Earl Jones in this movie?
I was trying to do
coming to a theater near you.
All right, so better.
There's better. So, in 1935, Indy is tasked by Indian villagers to reclaim a rock stolen by a secret cult beneath the catacombs of an ancient place in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Budgeted at $28.2 million and grossing in a cool $333.1 million. This was a big one. Indy was all over the place in the 80s, man.
Now, of all the of the franchise Indiana Jones, where does this one sit with you?
Well, you know, Data was in it. from
Short
the
Round.
Goonies. Yeah, Short Round, who was Data from the Goonies, for those of y'all that don't know.
Right.
Are we just going with the 80s?
Well, I mean, yeah, let's just go with what was in the 80s for the franchises, since we're just doing the top 20
I'm gonna
grossing.
say I pretty much go in order. I think Raiders of the Lost Ark is my favorite, and then I think really probably it's a toss up between this one and The Last Crusade, because Sean Connery was absolutely hilarious messing. What was it he called him? He called him something. He might have called him
Junior.
Junior.
He's Henry Jones Jr. We named the dog Indiana.
Yeah.
And then the
Yeah,
guy starts
no, they
laughing.
go in
The
order.
guy
I think,
starts laughing. He goes, "You were named after the dog."
right? Yeah, I think they go in order. I think this is my second favorite one.
I can't go that way. My absolute favorite was the third one. Yeah, that one with Sean
The Last
Connery.
Crusade.
The Last Crusade, definitely my favorite one, followed by the first one, the original, and then this one.
Heck yeah.
This is my least favorite of the three that came out in the 80s. So
yeah.
I mean, even if it did have Data in it from the Goonies, I mean, he didn't do enough to rescue it to make it the best one. I'm sorry.
Right. Well, this one was the one with the correct me if I'm wrong, but ain't this the one where he's running from the boulder that came down and everything too?
No, that's the first one.
Oh, is that? Well, then yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's
never mind.
the first one. Yeah, the second one is the cult under the palace, where they go and they get all the kids as slaves. Their mind has been altered or something, and they do some voodoo or some kind of magic.
Because the first one is the Ark, and then the Last Crusade was the Holy Grail, wasn't it?
Right.
So this one didn't even fit the theme. I'm changing it. This is my third. I'm going number 1, number 3, number 2.
Okay. That works for me.
Heck yeah.
Jumping up to number 9, we quick description. After a selfish LA yuppie learns his estranged father left a fortune to an autistic savant brother in Ohio that he didn't know existed, he absconds with his brother and sets out across the country, hoping to gain a larger inheritance. If I had heard that description, I would be like, "What in the world is that?" That's a movie from the 80s that's in the top 20. But
all right.
Understanding that you've got Dustin Hoffman and Tom Cruise starring in it, you may look differently at it at that point. They're
not just that though. You think about at the time where the prevalence of autism now versus back then,
right?
We would have used words that we're not allowed to use these days to describe Raymond. Definitely. Yeah, that's probably right. Yeah, definitely would have called me bad names. Definitely. Yep.
Bad names. Yes.
Bad names. Not good.
Director of it was Barry Levinson. This movie was budgeted at $25 million, but it grossed $354.8 million. Now I'm gonna say it. I have not seen this movie all the way through. I've seen bits and pieces of it when it's on TV. It's one of those I would sit and watch some of, and then get up and leave, and then get caught up in something else and just not go back, because it just didn't demand my attention to come back. One of these days, I'm gonna sit down and just watch it all the way through to say I've seen it all the way through.
It's pretty good. It's a pretty good flick, man. It really is.
Yeah, and I like Tom Cruise.
I love it when they drop the toothpicks. Did you see that part?
No.
They dropped the toothpicks, and like, I don't remember the number, but Raymond's like 72, 82, or something like that. Like as soon as they hit the floor, and they're like, "What?" He's like, 82 what? He's like, "Toothpicks." And then Charlie was like, "There's a lot more than 82," and he goes, he says some number like 200 and whatever, and then Charlie's like, "How many?" And the woman said, she looks at the box. It's a brand new box. She looked at the box, and she said 200. It's 250. It's 250. And then he was like pretty close, because he was like a savant. They called him a savant because of the numbers. He was good with numbers. And he said that's pretty close. And then the girl like held the box out and was like, "There's 4 left in the." So it's 246. So she was like, "There's 4 left in the box." So he said there was 246 total.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
I mean, I've always liked Tom Cruise. Dustin Hoffman, You know, he's got some good movies. Never been
Meet
a
the
huge fan.
Fockers.
Never been a huge fan of him. Now, when he got to that, I thought, oh yeah, I thought he was funnier. I loved him in Outbreak.
Yeah.
I did love him in that, but still, number 8.
Number 8. Coming in at number 8, we got. Oh, I've just been learning how to play this on the guitar. Let me not take up the time and do that right now. I really have though. I've been learning how to play the theme song to this movie on the guitar, and it's so much fun to play. It's Tom Cruise once again with Kelly McGillis when the Top Gun Naval Fighter Weapons School. We're the best of the best. I'm going to start doing it like that. We're the best of the best, trained to refine their elite flying skills. One hotshot fighter pilot, Maverick, is sent to the school. I can't hold it together. His reckless attitude and cocky demeanor put him at odds with other pilots, especially the cool and collected Iceman.
Dangerous Maverick.
Dangerous Maverick. You can be my wingman anytime. This one was budgeted.
It's a very quotable movie.
No doubt. Yeah. Top Gun. Come on now. Budgeted at $15 million, raking in a cool $356.8 million. I would think that would be a little more with all the Tomcats flying around in it. Jet fuel is not cheap. But
On the budget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved this movie when I was a kid. Except for the love scenes. I was like, why are you ruining such a great movie? I don't care about that. And honestly, the new movie was the same way. I could have lived without the love scene. I don't need the love scene. I know it adds to the story, and I'm fine with it. I just, I can. And like if I was watching it at home, I'd fast forward through all the gushy parts.
A lot of movies, when it comes to franchises and movies, the original, they say, is usually the best. But I liked Maverick Top Gun, the second installment, better than the original.
You did not.
I did.
Are you making another joke halfway through the show?
No. I liked it. I liked it better. I did. The first one's great. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Goose and everything, and their partnership. And
but
they
that's
there
my whole thing, though. My whole thing about it, though, is the second one is not even good unless you have the first one. Like I had a guy come into work. I went and saw the new Top Gun movie and everything. I was like, oh, awesome. So through talking, we're like, well, have you seen the first one? No. Well, you're not allowed to talk about this movie then. You don't even know about Rooster. You don't even know what's going on.
Right. Right. I have seen the first one, however. So I know what happens, know what goes on. I just like the story of the second one better. The whole action bit, the whole story and action bit of what they're doing.
Right.
It was good to see him, what happened to him years down the road, knowing that he had the problem with, authority and everything. And that never changed apparently. And, he was always so close to getting kicked out, and they finally got one final thing for him to do. And it's just to teach the other former Top Guns, what they want them to do. And he ends up flying the mission instead.
Yeah.
So, I
and
mean,
how cool was it? How cool was it that Tom Cruise said that he would not do this movie unless they figured out how to put Val Kilmer in it?
Yeah.
Like if Val's not going to do it,
that's loyalty, though.
Yeah,
that's
man. They did Val right too. It was good. I liked it.
Yeah. Well, number 7.
Number 7.
It's funny that this comes around this way.
I know
for me, and also while this is funny this way for me, the movie after this is funny for you as well.
Right.
But starting on mine right here, number 7 of the 1980s is Back to the Future, the original one. And we touched on it earlier a little bit, how Marty got back to the past, 1955. There's a thing that happens where him and Doc where Doc is showing him the car and what it does. And unfortunately, the car runs on plutonium. And like Marty said, you can't just buy that at the local corner store. You know, where'd you get the plutonium at? Well, apparently he robbed some of the wrong people, some Libyan people, and they came back for him. So Marty goes to escape, gets in the car and takes off, and it hits that magic number of 88 miles per hour and sends him back to the past, which is the last place that Doc had typed in. because that was the day that he had come up with the idea for the flux capacitor, which
Yeah,
is one
'cause they-
that basically makes what the time travel work.
Yeah, because they have to have, what is it, 1.21 gigawatts of power.
1.21 gigawatts. What was I thinking? So once again, Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd, Leah Thompson. Now there was something notable about the movies of the first and second one. I'm gonna mention since we're on the first one now. In the first one, you had one person playing the role of Marty's girlfriend.
Mhm.
She could not continue into the second one. She had some family issues. I think the health of her mother or something like that, and they brought in Elizabeth Shue to take her place. Um, honestly, some people didn't even notice that. Honestly,
I don't think I did.
they didn't.
For
Well,
all
they,
these years.
so I'm saying they didn't pay attention to her much because she wasn't the highlight of the movie or
Yeah,
anything.
because nobody cares.
Nobody cares. His girlfriend spent most of the time asleep on the porch swing.
Yeah.
$19 million is the budget of this movie. However, it raked in $381.1 million.
Heck yeah.
1985.
1985. I like it.
Well, since the little humorous thing for me there, getting both Back to the Futures, what did you get at number 6?
Well, it's going to be really humorous because I scrolled up a little early and I'm going to get all of these.
You are, aren't you? I'm looking now. That's great.
So in 1936, archaeologists and adventurers of the U.S. government hired a particular tomb raider to find the Ark of the Covenant before the Nazis could obtain its extraordinary powers. In 1981, the year my wife was born, we have Indiana Jones
And the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
budgeted somewhere between 18 and 20 million. She pulled in a smooth, nice, even number of $390 million. $390 million. That's a lot of money.
Quite a chunk of change in 1981.
Good Lord. That'd be a chunk of change now.
That would.
That's pretty doggone good.
I'd take it.
Heck yeah. This one, like, what more do you need to say? Do we need a monkey?
We've kind of touched on it earlier when we talked about Temple of Doom too. You know, this is the one where the rolling rock, the boulders chasing him down the way. You know, they made the Universal Studios thing for Indiana Jones after that very scene where you watch the guy escaping from the boulder and all.
Right. I think one of my favorite things about this movie is the quote, because I'm feeling this these days, man. When his wife was like, or a girl, or not his wife, his girlfriend, whatever, she was like, "You're not the man I knew 10 years ago." And he goes, "It's not the years, honey. It's the mileage." I've been rode hard.
They're starting to feel that more and more every year, aren't we?
Man alive. Ooh-wee. What I believe number 5 deserves to be sitting at number 5.
You know what? Number 5 or higher. I mean, because
for sure.
This is, you know what? But we've had before 1989. Man, I'm trying to think. I don't remember what year Blade came out.
Oh, well after. Blade was in the 90s because Blade and Spawn came out like a year apart.
You're right. They were in the 90s. So Howard the Duck and Superman were the only other things you had before this came out, and they're always trying to reinvent Superman.
Aside from the trash Spider-Man movie, where he was actually in like Spider-Man pajamas. He was wearing underoos climbing the side.
But that was a TV movie. If you're going to go with TV movies,
oh well, yeah, that's true.
Not only did they have a couple different Spider-Man TV movies, they had a Captain America TV movie. They had the Incredible Hulk TV movies with Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno. So I mean,
that's true. Well, how about Flash Gordon then?
And Flash Gordon.
Flash Gordon was a comic character.
We had Flash Gordon. Well, but this is the first really good since Superman 2, I thought. Really good comic book hero movie that we got. And it's 1989's Batman, starring Michael Keaton. Everybody's favorite Batman, Michael Keaton.
Oh yeah, man.
Jack Nicholson plays the Joker, does it brilliantly. Kim Basinger's in the movie. Um, I believe her character name was Vicky Vale, the reporter, I
Yeah,
believe it was.
yeah. Stop the press.
So basically, the Dark Knight of Gotham City begins his war on crime, with his first major enemy being Jack Napier, a criminal who becomes a clownishly homicidal Joker.
yeah,
And he kind of creates him himself. I mean, he's in this factory where he's fighting off Jack Napier and his goons and everything, and he's the reason why Napier falls into that acid and stuff, that whole vat of whatever it is he was in.
yeah.
That
Well,
basically
you know
created the
what?
Joker.
You said good, so I'm not. Well, I can't concede to that because I can't say that any movie Dolph Lundgren is not good. But I think that this movie had a little something to do with why Dolph Lundgren's 1989 portrayal of the Punisher didn't do so well too. Okay, great. It was not a phenomenal comic book movie, but
You talking about the Punisher?
the one with the one with Dolph Lundgren in it.
But yet it's my favorite version of it, though, until you get to the Netflix versions that we got recently.
Yeah, for sure.
And those are the
for
best.
Sure.
Those are the best.
Absolutely.
But the whole Batman thing is a lot of quotable stuff in it too. I mean,
oh man,
you got where does he get those wonderful toys? You know, all the different things. You get the Batarang. He's got the little zip line thing. He shoots out from a gun and pulls himself up the building or something. Or one of my favorite things he did was he's dancing with Kim Basinger when he's got her captive. And he's talking about Beauty and the Beast. And he says, if anybody ever calls you Beast again, I'll kill him.
Right. One of my favorite things about the movie, it's a real small thing, but to me, it's just always been so hilarious. And it captures Bruce's trust of Alfred. Like, he doesn't trust anybody in the whole world, but he trusts Alfred. Was when he brought him I forgot what Alfred called it, but like, it was a bowl of something. He took a bite out of it and spit it out and went, it's cold. And Alfred was like, it's blah, blah, blah. It's supposed to be cold, sir. And then his facial expression, the way like shrugged his shoulders and did his eyebrows and just started eating it. Like, it was like, well, okay, if you say so.
Well, it's supposed to be cold, so finish eating.
But one of my favorite memories of this movie, though, is I didn't get to go to the movies to see this. But when we were watching it at home, when it came out on VHS and all, when Jack Nicholson said, "This town needs an enema," I had no idea at like 9, 10 years old what the hell an enema was. So my dad explained to me in very colorful language what an enema was. And then it was hilarious.
And you learned at a way too young age, colorfully, what an enema was.
Right. Oh, I had already knew. I was in a hospital with meningitis one time, and I got like 2 or 3 of those. So,
yeah, and now you know.
And now you know. And no one's had
the rest of the story.
You know,
the Batman budgeted $35 million, and it grossed $411.5 million. I believe I mentioned earlier, directed by Tim Burton. So
yeah, great director. We got another great director at number 4. So we've been to 1936. We've been to 1935. This was a busy guy. In 1938, after his father goes missing while pursuing the Holy Grail, Indiana Jones finds himself up against the Nazis yet again to stop them from attaining its power. In Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade with Mr. Sean Connery.
Look at the other star of the movie, though. Harrison Ford, Sean Connery, and who?
Allison Doody.
You said duty.
You said budgeted at $48 million and raking in a cool $474.3 million. That's a lot of money. Harrison Ford did good.
Now, you know, we were talking how impressive it was before. Now, that was 1981 when it grossed 390. Now, we're talking about almost a decade later, and more movies are making, you know, bigger money at this point in time. So I guess really 474.3 million still in 1989 is a large chunk of change. Very impressive.
No doubt.
It feels less impressive as it does if it was earlier in the 80s for some reason.
Yeah.
And speaking of earlier 80s, we've got number 3 here, which is 1983, starring the likes of Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, and Carrie Fisher. And that's going to be Return of the Jedi. Now, I was going to say it's the third installment, but this is actually episode 6 of
Yeah.
the original thing that they had in mind. There was
Yeah.
supposed to be 9 episodes originally talked about, and they thought they would take the meat of it at 4, 5, and 6 and make
Mhm.
that the story that they could. That was the best story at the time they could really tell with what they had to work with. So
I think George Lucas made a phenomenal decision by doing that. Well, I mean, history shows he did.
right, he did. And the only thing that I don't like about it that I wish had not have happened is that we didn't get the original final 3 of it, 7, 8, and 9. The original idea he had for it, we didn't get. Because years down the road, they did the prequels 1, 2, and 3, and
He
then
gave it to Disney.
yeah, well, I mean, he did sell it out. He sold it out though with the idea that they were going to do it justice
Yeah,
close,
yeah.
close to what he had. But the woman who took over,
Mhm.
she did nothing like what he wanted, and she really didn't
Right.
put much into the original characters either. Honestly,
No, and Feige started out half decent, and then he's went off the rails.
right?
And
So
my man John Favreau with the beginning of the Mandalorian, and then they took that away from him. But
yeah,
we could
Disney's
ran a whole show
done.
about that.
Oh, well, we could. Disney's done some good things with Star Wars. They've done some bad things with Star Wars.
Right,
I mean,
100%. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, Kenobi, it was incredible. I love Kenobi.
yes, absolutely. This one here is like I said, it's the third installment of the originals. Han Solo had been captured and put into carbonite and taken by the bounty hunter Boba Fett to Jabba the Hutt. So this starts out with Luke, who has become a Jedi Knight now, going to Jabba's palace to rescue Han with the help of Lando and Chewie and Princess Leia. The movie itself was budgeted $32.5 million. A lot of work went into this, just like it did with The Empire Strikes Back. But they a lot of work put into it. $482.5 million grossed worldwide in 1983.
That's a lot of dough.
That is a lot of dough right there, and it's very impressive. Very impressive the way they made it. Great cast involved with it in the entire series they did. It was my original favorite movie franchise for the longest time, and where that's way over our pay grade here what we do. But in the 2000s, later 2000s, we started getting Lord of the Rings, and I'm sorry, sorry George, sorry Luke Skywalker, but the Hobbitses and everybody else took over for you.
Dude, Peter Jackson destroyed that, man. They'll never be able to do that again as well. Like Peter Jackson just smashed it. That was awesome.
Right. Well, what we got for number 2?
Oh, isn't this ironic that number 2 is episode 5 of Star Wars? The Empire Strikes Back. Where
If
where
you wanted
Luke
to do your James Earl
finds
Jones
out-
now, you could, right?
where Luke finds out that Darth Vader
Is his father.
because Luke
Has no idea the power of the dark side.
I love it. You know what tripped me out the most about these movies, to be
What's that?
honest, 100% honest, is that oh man, what's his name? He was just in a movie we did not too long ago. Because I was tripping out because he was in there. The Emperor. The Emperor's the same guy. In every
Yeah.
movie.
Every
He's the same dude.
from the originals straight up to later on, and when they did the prequels,
Yeah.
I mean,
It's the
into
same
the
guy.
very, very final one, Ian McDermott, still,
Ian McDermott. Yeah, thank you.
and he was in Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. That we did. Is what you're thinking of. He was.
That's what it was.
Yeah, he was
Yes.
the butler. But
Man. Trips me out, dude. That's
what was your of the
crazy.
original 3? Which one do you like the best?
Yeah.
And I know the first one wasn't 80s, but let's just go since we didn't go past the 80s with the Indiana Jones. Let's just stick with Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi.
The Battle of Endor and Ewok Adventure. I'm just kidding.
The Ewok Christmas special or something, wasn't it? What they have come out?
They had the Battle for Endor.
Was that the TV movie with the Ewoks? Battle for Endor?
I just one I saw.
Did they only have one or did they have two?
I don't remember. Now that I can't tell you.
I was thinking there was a holiday episode that came out as well.
That'd be hilarious. There may have been.
And that didn't make 420 million or something. I mean, come on.
Something like that.
Well, what did this movie
I'm gonna
do?
have to say, well, before I tell you which one's my favorite, we had a budget of 33 million on this one, on this guy, and we grossed 550.9 million, over $500 million.
Do you think, since this is the middle one of the three, do you think since it grossed more than the last one, do you think they were starting to lose a little interest to going toward Return of the Jedi, the people, or did they just not? I mean, there has to be something.
I'm not sure
that would lead because
the first Star Wars movie, I don't know what it grossed. It had to be up there. So just Star Wars. Let's find out. Star Wars gross. When did it come in? 1978?
77, 77, I believe.
77?
77, 78, one of the two.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. I don't have the information quickly pulled up in front of me. Episode 1, A New Hope would be just Star Wars.
Right, A New Hope.
Yeah. So Star Wars grossed 406. So Star Wars did the same. It grossed 460.9. So the first one did about the same as the third one.
Well, third one did a little bit more.
The fourth one did about the same as the fifth one.
The first one was the intro to it, so it made it. It's understandable that it didn't do as much.
Mm-hmm.
They're introducing the movie, and then basically what that world is about.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it was tailing off or not, because like at the same time, people were also lined up outside the theater like 2 days before it opened. I've seen footage of anyway out in California and stuff. So I'm not sure with that. Maybe the second one just did so great because they introduced Yoda in it.
Well, and that could be too. But let's see about this. What other movies came out when when it released that would have been out around it that would have caused it to not do as well?
On Return of the Jedi. So that'd be 83. I don't know of anything unless it was like Conan the Destroyer. But episode 5 is where you get do or do not. There is no try. Darth Vader was like,
there is no escape. Do not make me destroy you.
Now, there had to be some other thing. I'm thinking maybe some other things just came out during that time frame, which basically kept it from doing as well, possibly.
Yes. See,
if you only knew the power of the dark side, Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father.
Maybe Obi-Wan could tell us why it didn't gross as much as the others.
I bet he could.
Could. Now, I would like to go ahead and go ahead and jump to
I am your father.
You are not. You're not my daddy.
I'm the boy's pappy.
Whose line is it?
Eddie Murphy live. I'm that boy's daddy. I's the pappy.
There was a whose line is it anyway bit they did. They said lines that you would know. It's like redneck lines that you would hear in Star Wars. And Wayne Brady goes up and goes, Wayne Brady goes up. I reckon I'm your pappy.
Yeah, I reckon I'm your pappy. It's me, Bobby. I'm your daddy.
I can see that goofy look at his face in my mind right now. That's killing me. All right, the number one
Close the
movie of the
show out.
decade, of the top 20 decade 1980s, top 20 worldwide grossing films. Number one, everybody probably knows this, for whether you yelled out or not. Everybody probably already knows about making the trail of Reese's Pieces and wanting to get on the phone and call home. And
Elliot.
exactly. We're talking E.T. the Extra-Terrestrial, not the Atari video game of it that bombed, but
Right.
we're talking the movie E.T. the Extra-Terrestrial. Henry
I've
Thomas,
probably
Drew
only seen this
Barrymore.
movie twice in my life and still just can so vividly. I think probably because I saw it as a kid and kids loved it so much, I can just so vividly Elliot and see him running around. Elliot.
When I was younger, I watched it quite a few times. It was rented around the house quite often.
Yeah.
I liked it when I was a kid, and then my sister, who was 3 years behind me, when she got to see it the first time, loved it and kept wanting to rent it. When it was time to go to the store and rent on the weekends, during that time, I told you before, we would rent the entire. We didn't have a VCR or anything, so we'd rent the VCR, or before the VCR, you had a video disc player I mentioned before. Whatever it was, we were renting. We'd rent the player plus the movies, and ET was one of them that was rented quite often for a while there. So
yeah.
But the troubled child summons the courage to help a friendly alien escape from Earth and return to his home planet. The budget was $10.5 million. Now, I know you're looking at the same thing I am, so you can't just guess of what it grossed. But would you ever have imagined in 1982?
Some odd million.
In 1982, could you imagine a movie of any kind would have grossed $796 million?
Dude, yeah, that's insane.
It held that record for a very long time. Do you remember what?
Titanic?
I think Titanic broke it,
or Avatar.
And then Avatar.
Yeah, I think Titanic broke ET, and then Avatar broke Titanic.
I believe so. But it took a lot of years. See, Titanic came out what year? Do you remember?
Oh, I went and watched it with my first wife before the movie theater on Pelham Road closed down. We were actually married. I'm going to guess 2000, actually, just 2000. So 99, between 99, 2000, and 2001, but I'm going to say 2000.
Yeah, we don't have to be exact or anything, just a roundabout time frame.
Yeah,
so,
but I want to know now just to know how good my memory is. And we were not married at the time. It came out in 1997.
97.
So we were not married.
You'd think I would remember that I had to go see it 3 different times. So
it was a good movie.
It was a good movie. I don't know if I liked it 3 different times worth. Maybe the second time was okay, or the third time was overkill for me. But the person I was with wanted to go, so we went.
I like how Michael called him a bald monkey.
To what?
He said,
in ET?
Maybe it's one of them weird animals that wasn't supposed to die. It was supposed to die, but didn't. Like we're seeing at the zoo or something like that. And it's like, maybe he's a monkey. He's a bald monkey.
You know what? I think ET still stands well today, though. If you were to watch it today, I think it could be a movie that kids would love today still. And
for sure.
The parents obviously have already seen it in their childhood, would love to watch it again as well.
Yeah.
The thing is, I hope they never get the wild hair up their butt to try and continue the movie or anything. I don't see any possible way you could really continue this movie and make it worthwhile. And it does not need to be remade.
No,
it needs to be left alone as it is. You want to make an alien movie? Fine. Make your own version of an alien movie. Don't remake E.T.
You know what I just thought about?
What?
Spielberg has like 6 or 8 movies in the top. Him and Robert Zemeckis are killing the 80s on their grossing. But the Titanic and Avatar, the 2 movies that broke this record and then broke their own record, were both done by James Cameron. So James Cameron broke this record and then broke his own record with Avatar.
Ain't that funny?
Ain't that something?
I wonder if you took the total money made by Avatar and Titanic and you added it together, what would it equal to how many of these top 20 movies?
Right? That's crazy. That's a ooh wee. That would be because I think Avatar did hit over $1 billion, didn't it?
I'm pretty sure. I can't swear what it made. I'd have to
Two,
look.
dude, golly,
Go ahead and put it out
two
there.
$2.8 billion.
All right, 2.8
And then Titanic
billion.
made an even billion. And it's the third highest grossing. So what's the second highest? So something beat Titanic, and then or did something beat Avatar?
I didn't eventually one of the Lord of the Rings or the something like that catch up to it,
Oh, it might have.
or is it just a franchise?
Well, Titanic's not a franchise, so
No, I meant that took over and beat Avatar.
oh, maybe it may have been. So I know Way of Water did pretty well too. Oh wow, I cannot even believe that. So Titanic is number 4. It's dropped to number 4 now because Way of Water clipped number 3. It grossed. Oh, this is lifetime grossing. So lifetime gross, it grossed 2,320,000,000 blah blah blah. Titanic
Yeah.
grossed 2,200,000,000 blah 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 lifetime. Avengers Endgame grossed 2.799 billion, and Avatar is still sitting at the top spot with 2.9.
You know, I just want to throw this out there just real quick, and we're about to end here shortly. But before we do, since it's not a regular movie where we throw out the fun trivias or anything,
Right.
a little fun trivia to go with the all-time highest grossing films, which you're looking at and everything there. I'm not sure where you're seeing it at. The one I
Uh-huh.
pulled up real quick was just a Wikipedia page. And Wikipedia, as we know, may not be 100% spot on correct. So take this for what it's worth.
Mhm.
Um, at number 1 is Avatar. Number 2, Avengers Endgame. 3, Avatar: Way of Water. 4, The Titanic. 5, Star Wars: The Force Awakens.
I've got that too, and
Uh,
I'm on IMDb.
And then 6, The Avengers: Infinity War. 7 is Spider-Man: No Way Home. 8 is Inside Out 2. I'm not sure what that is. 9 is Jurassic World, and 10 is The Lion King. That's your top
Really?
10 all
Okay,
time.
so we've got a discrepancy. We've got one discrepancy there somewhere. I got Titanic, Force Awakens, Infinity War, No Way Home, Jurassic World, Lion King, Avengers at 10.
Okay, so this Inside Out at number 8 here, I don't know what that is, but it's listed at 1.675
Oh yeah.
billion.
My wife loves Inside Out. I've got it at 1.35 million on IMDb. It's
I would
the
think
second
IMDb
Inside
probably
Out
knows
movie.
better
It
than
may
what,
not.
because well, you think about it, Wikipedia. The reason why I said take it for what it's worth is because I could go in right now and change that if I wanted to.
Right.
So I mean, take it. That's why I said take it for what it's worth. Somebody could just put that in there and been wrong on it,
Mm-hmm.
and go from there. So there's but in the top 20, you got a lot of Avengers in there for
Oh,
sure.
dude. That's
Uh,
what I always said that comic books and video games will make the best movies you ever watch.
a
And
lot of superhero movies, except for number 19, which was Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, the ending of the whole series.
yeah, and
But if you take the top 20 and look at the superhero movies, you got
mhm.
Black Panther, you got Avengers: Age of Ultron, you got the Avengers, the first one, you got Spider-Man: No Way Home, Infinity War, and then Endgame. 6 of your 20 is, and on top of it, it's Marvel
Right,
superheroes.
right. Yeah, DC's
So
not holding up with them. So.
it might be DC's turn coming up because they're starting to finally get smart and bring in people that know what they're doing, making these movies. It looks like.
Well, if I just leave Henry Cavill alone,
They haven't done that. They've already
I
kicked him
know,
out and
I
replaced
know.
him. But that's another
Well,
story for another day, though.
we might
Unfortunately,
get the Cavalrine.
you might, wouldn't that be something? Um, well, Travis, For a show that we decided to do on this,
Throw together.
just throw together at the last minute and off the top of the head. I'm not going to say what we had planned. We had something else planned that fell through tonight for us, so we're going to try and reschedule, and hopefully it works out. I don't want to say anything of who it was or what it was. We were going to do an interview of it originally. We just had some issues with browsers and such, so we'll just say it's a technical issue we're trying to work out, and hopefully one day soon we can get it fixed where we get that person back on with us and everything. But
For sure.
I would tell you from experience doing this show, the interviews are well worth the wait, but sometimes there's things that just come up that you have to postpone and put off till you finally get a right date and time set up. So we will get it taken care of eventually. But this, for put together at the last moment, Travis, this was fun. This was great, and it was definitely well worth doing. So
rock and roll, man.
Of the 20 we did, do you have a favorite of the 20?
No.
It's kind of hard to pick a favorite, isn't it? An absolute favorite, an absolute favorite. It's hard to pick one.
Oh man, it's gonna have to be between. Out of all of those, it's gonna be between. No, I can't do it.
I can't do it. That's what I'm telling you now. I can't. Before you even ask me, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I just want to know if you had one though.
Yeah.
I definitely do not.
They're all great. I would say it's gonna be between Batman and the Star Wars movies.
If I was gonna take a least. If I was gonna take a least favorite, I would probably throw out there one of them that I haven't seen, like Fatal Attraction.
Yeah, Fatal
Attraction. I have seen some of Rain Man, just not all of it. So I mean, Fatal Attraction would be my least.
Yeah,
but so anyway, well, we're glad everybody got to listen to us this week. It was something at least. Something. It was always fun. Make sure you're following us on the Instagram and Facebook and at the website of www.retrolife4u.com.
And even though it's still a work in process, you can smash that like button and hit that bell for the notifications on YouTube.
Right. Definitely look us out on search us out on YouTube. Follow us on there. I want to say we are currently sitting at 215 people, I think, that are following. And thanks to all of you who are following there. We hope the rest of you will come aboard soon with us. And a lot more to come other than just the movies. Since like I mentioned earlier, I get this new job coming up. It's freeing up a lot of my time that I didn't have before. And it's going to enable the ability to do several different type of mini-series things for the YouTube page.
Content creation.
I hope you guys will enjoy and everything. We get some other people to come in and jump in with us and everything and just have a blast. So all right, well, Mr. Funny Man, do you got anything to close the night up with us here, or are we just going to go ahead and say we're glad everybody got to join in with us, or what?
I'm going to do it. I'm going to make a Darth. I'm going to do it as Darth Vader.
Oh, hold on. You're going to do a joke as Darth Vader?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
What do you call security guards working outside of a Samsung shop?
Ooh, what?
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Gosh.